Good morning. We're new around here, so I thought we'd introduce ourselves. I'm Jill,
I'm Terry,
and we're traveling around in our self-converted van, Tumbleweed.
along with our dog, Tokai, who is a Hungarian, very spoiled pulley.
This little monster right here is our puppy dog, Tokai. He's a Hungarian pulley, and he might be the spoiledest pooch in the world. We started out here in near Murska Sobota in eastern Slovenia, and we traveled up the back roads and into Hungary. But since all we could see was fog, we decided to jump on some of the major roads, and we traveled along here up to the town of Győr. Continuing along from Győr, Google decided that we should visit Slovakia. So we passed into Slovakia, went along for a bit, passed back into Hungary, went along for a bit, passed over the Danube yet one more time, and went along here. We could see the famous Basilica of Esztergom in the distance, and then went on a road that's not even there on the map, passed along here, finally went into Bank, Hungary, went along this way, no roads shown on the map for that, passed by the little village UNESCO heritage site of Holloko, went over here, saw the vineyards of the famous wine from Eger, the bull's blood wine, and ended up someplace along here in the video.
There's a historic rebuilt mill, kind of like a typical water mill, except it's on a boat, and the boat is anchored in the river, and the flowing water that comes by the mill turns the water wheel. And the current mill, as I said, was reconstructed, and the reason for that is the original historic mill was destroyed in a flood.
Oh, I didn't know that. Swept away, huh?
Swept away.
The park surrounding the floating mill is quite nice. There's picnic tables, shelters, fire pits, and trails leading off into the forest. There's also a passenger ferry that goes over to the little island. Plenty of places for Toki to poke around, investigate, and just generally have fun. The little island in the river is called Love Island, so people hang their padlocks as a symbol of their everlasting love. I don't know that I'm such a fan of that, but maybe it makes them feel good. Good morning, everybody. This morning I'm on the River Mur in southern Slovenia at this floating mill. I don't know much about it except that I guess this area and this river had mills, and they floated up and down, and they obviously run by the power of the water and, provided services where they were needed. The area around this floating mill on the River Mur was quite agricultural, and there was a lot of grain production. I read that there were over 50 mills on this river at one point, but over time they've either been swept away in floods or just fallen into general disrepair. I love to come to historical places like this because it lets my imagination run wild. I can just imagine a farmer pulling up to this mill with his horse-drawn wagon full of sacks of grain, and then he'd be leaving. His wagon would be full of sacks of flour, of buckwheat or wheat or barley. Good morning, everybody. We're off on a transit day. We are to the east, 2026, although it's still 2025. We are heading to a new country today, home of Toki's people, Hungary. Welcome to Hungary. There are great views today. And there we have a bit of the Danube. We've been making our way across Hungary today, mostly in the fog, but now we have some sunshine.
A very bumpy road.
And a very bumpy road. And there we are, crossing the Danube. Welcome to Slovakia. Wasn't really on our route, but Google sent us this way, so here we are. Here's a bit of Slovakian countryside, and it looks an awful lot like the Hungarian countryside. Back from Slovakia into Hungary. But here's the old unused border crossing. Nobody home. And here we are, officially in Hungary. Hoot, hoot, hoot. Here I am, back in Hungary. You know, if you'd asked me this morning if I was going to go to Slovakia, I would have said, no, I'm having a transit day driving across Hungary. But you never know what little treats Google has in store for you. Where do you find yourself?
And bank.
Bank. That's right.
Bank.
Bank Hungary.
Bank Hungary. B-A-N-K.
On our way to Holloko,
Holloko. H-O-L-L-O-K-O.
a UNESCO World Heritage village.
Right.
Well, I'm off on my morning walk, and I discovered this. No idea what that means. Well, we made it about halfway across Hungary yesterday. It was bumpy and long, and we had a little Google created detour through Slovakia, so that was that. And today, we're heading off to Come on, Toki. Today, we're headed off to a UNESCO World Heritage site that is a village that represents the traditional architecture of Hungary. I'm walking around this little lake. It's kind of cool. It's got a lot of waterfowl on it in the winter, and little places where you can sit and watch the birds or watch the sunset. Lots of waterfowl. Not really sure what it's saying to me. There's Tumbleweed after their little rest, ready to start his day. We're now walking through the UNESCO World Heritage village of Holloko, Hungary. It's noted by UNESCO because it preserves a unique way of life of the Pollock people. They were agricultural, and they tended to, this was before the era of big modern agriculture, and they tended to have narrow, long strips behind their houses, and the strips of grain production would alternate with woodlands and orchards and animal husbandry. Traditionally, the people built their houses right up against the street on both sides of the street. Then, as a subsequent generation came along, they would build their house behind the first house. So the houses got longer and longer. They have a short frontage on the street, and then often the sides of the houses have a beautiful long extended porch. The Pollock people are considered to be ethnically Hungarian, although they speak a slightly different dialect of Hungarian. Not that I'd be able to tell. Hungary also has a ceramic history, and they're probably better known internationally for their black pots like this, and also, of course, for Herend porcelain. Another thing that you see all over Hungary are these blue water fountains. I think they can arise from a day before there was modern plumbing. Well, what do you think of Holokos?
Interesting.
I'm going with cold, foggy, and deserted. Hungary is also traditionally Christian, with the majority of people identifying as Roman Catholics, which is not surprising given the history of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. Well, to the bakery, and we got some sheep cheese poli.
Yeah.
Poli. They're good. Tasty,
Good.
tasty, freshly made.
Tastes like an American biscuit. with
Sadly,
cheese in it.
little Toki couldn't go in to have coffee, so there we go. We saw this the other day. It's kind of Meals on Wheels, Hungarian style. We saw somebody dropping off a full one and the guy handing back an empty one. I couldn't find any information about these chimes, but they seem to suit the foggy day and the small village of Hollokos. Flat Stanley policeman. We're thinking that these are the vineyards for the wine from Eger, E-G-E-R, the bull's blood wine. Good morning, everybody. I'm in Hungary this morning on another cloudy, cool morning, and we just happened upon these wine cellars. It's really kind of cool. They're stone fronted and backed up into the hillside and storing wine. We're in the little town of Bogax, B-O-G-A-C-S, I think. Anyway, for somebody who loves wine as much as I do, it was a serendipitous find. Just picked this place randomly off of Google, but it's kind of nice.
I got meat soup with little noodles and carrots.
I got carrot soup with pumpkin. I'm afraid I don't have anything to eat. I have here some panko breaded pork, and some mashed potatoes.
This is my plate. Stuffed pork, French fries, and a little salad.
It's a dilemma. Am I noi or furfy? Am I noi or furfy? Dark nest. But nobody home. That's an absolutely ginormous stork nest right there.
Monster.
And rural Hungary also has some beautiful gates, carved wooden gates, intricate carving. You'll see them along the roads and also by the cemeteries like this one. We love taking you along with us on our journeys. If you'd like to see more videos, please like, subscribe, and join us on the next one.